40 hours per week. That's how much on average student athletes spend dedicated to their sport. Now, universities make a lot of revenue off of them. However, student athletes don't get paid a dime for their hard work they put into practice, training, and games, all the while their school makes a hefty profit off of them. Making millions off of these athletes while not giving them a dime of it is pretty unethical. My purpose here today is to explain to you why I believe college athletes should be allowed to get paid since their schools make so much money off of them. Now, just to show you how much their schools make off of them, the 231 NCAA Division I schools with data available generated a total of $9.15 billion in the last 2015 fiscal year. Texas A&M topped off the list, generating $192.6 million in revenue according to data collected from USA Today and the U.S. Department of Education. All television revenue, ticket and jersey sales, likeness promotion, and other sources of revenue go directly to the schools, the coaches, event staff, and everyone else in the business, except for the athletes that create the value for them. Last year, the NCAA men's basketball tournament generated $1.15 billion in television ads. Yet they refuse to pay the athletes who really do spend a full-time job's worth of time per week on their sport. According to an NCAA survey, Division I football players averaged 43 hours a week on their sport, dedicated that's training, practice, games, everything. Baseball came in second with 42.1 hours a week, and men's basketball came in third with 39.2 hours per week spent on their sport. These are in-season numbers. This means on top of classwork, homework, tests, whatever else they have to do as far as their academics go, this is on top of that. So athletes are having to work basically a full-time job on top of their academics. When looking for ideal pay that they would deserve, it would range in differential for the different sports, only because the bigger sports obviously generate a lot more money than say tennis or swimming. They just doesn't generate as much revenue as the other sports. So athlete pay would differential, but just the fact that you would compensate them for all the work and time that they're putting in to their sport, I mean, that would mean something to them, I believe. To pay that they deserve compensation for all their hard work and dedication. And while they do have scholarships that pay for all their academic expenses, the scholarships that they receive don't nearly cover all the daily expenses that they have to pay for, like their food, their shelter. Well, it does pay for shelter, but like they have so much more daily expenses that they're just like, college athletes are just as broke as like other people you see. They're not walking around with like a bunch of money or anything. They don't get paid off of their endorsements. And with all the time spent on their sports and their studies, student athletes simply don't have the time to add a job to the mix. That it's just, not to mention all the extra stress that it would put onto them to add a job to the 40 hours of practice a week and their academics and their studies and all that. Being allowed to receive revenue for the countless hours of hard work that they put in during the week, I believe that would only make sense considering that all the dedication they put into their sport, while the universities can just generate millions and millions of revenue off of them and not pay them a dime for it. That just doesn't sound right to me. All the profit they're making off of the student athletes. So in conclusion, I believe that it won't be right to offer them some sort of compensation in the form of revenue or some type of pay that they could receive in addition to their scholarships, just because of the daily expenses that they have, all the dedication they put into their practice, into their training, and all the time basically that they put into this. And for the universities to just keep all the millions of dollars that they make off of them and not offer them any of it, that just doesn't sound ethical to me. So I believe they should allow them to be paid at least something for their efforts. Thank you.
Samantha, are you here?
Yeah.
All right. I'm looking in the wrong spot. I'm looking over there. Okay, what did you think?
I thought the introduction was good, and it seemed well organized, and your facts were also good. It sounded like you knew what you were talking about, and in the conclusion part, I like the summary where you summarize everything that you were talking about. I do think it could have been a little longer with a little more facts, but overall I think it was well put together.
Okay. Yeah, I think there are a couple of things that need to be developed a little bit more. The notion that the universities or colleges are profiting off of this, I think, is kind of a presupposition that needs more demonstration. My guess is that although some of them end up in a revenue plus side, for instance, the vast majority of them spend all of their money funding all of their athletic programs, and that's really where most of the money goes. So it's not like, you know, they're getting fat and rich off of the hardware. It's all supporting their particular programs that are going on there. And I think that that's one of the reservations that somebody might have in talking about what you are asking about. I think this is a place where a change in the vocabulary and language would benefit you a little bit in your argument. Instead of saying that the athletes should be paid, which makes it sound like we're now becoming the junior professional sports league, which I think a lot of people might have a hesitation about thinking that that's a good idea. I think there might be another way to go about doing this, and that would be to suggest that student athletes who are making these sacrifices should receive some additional stipend to help them cover expenses while they're going to school. So it's not like, well, we're recruiting people and we're going to get you to come to our school by giving you the biggest paycheck. Instead, it's, look, we're going to have you at our school, we're going to give you a scholarship, you're going to play for us, and you'll be okay while you're here because we'll give you the kinds of support that you need to be able to have a full college experience and not feel like you're deprived of those things because you have to work so hard. I think that's one of the kind of linguistic and rhetorical devices that you need to make an adjustment to, because people are going to hear this and going, well, why don't you just go straight to the NBA? Why the hell are you going to college in the first place? Well, you're going to college in the first place because you need the exposure, you need additional coaching. There is a benefit that you get from doing those kinds of things. Plus, if the vast majority of people who go to college and play play a sport, even if they're playing at a good level, they don't ever get to play professional sports. So the idea that this is going to be their professional sports career seems, I think there's going to be a lot of resistance to that. And so this is one of those places where I think that would benefit a little bit. I think you do a nice job speaking to us. There's usually solid audience contact. I didn't notice anything that was problematic, but the speech is less than 5 minutes, so there's a lot more material that probably needs to be developed. The strongest evidence that you had was at the beginning about the amount of revenue that's brought in, and then you've got the example of Texas A&M and how much money that they have in that particular thing. But this is one of those places where I start saying, yeah, but how much of that is excess revenue that goes beyond what they spend on their programs? And I don't know any of that sort of information, so that would I think strengthen your argument a little bit. Okay, thank you.